I am milling about with Selina Ringel, and she's the writer, producer, and star of You, Me, and Her. Hi there.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I so love this film. It was such a great little chick flick, you know?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Tell me why you didn't direct. You did everything else, but your husband directed, yeah?
Yeah, so we've actually been working together for 10 years. We have a production company together, and he's actually directed all of the stuff that we've done, and I've written and produced it all. I will say I do have a project that I'm going to be directing next. So I am excited to step into that role, but this movie was such a big part for me as an actor. And I really wanted to be able to have the space to kind of sit into that and not also have what three roles is a lot already. So and he's also a wonderful director, so I was excited to be in his hands, and to be able to do this together.
So let's unpack each part. Writing first. What was the impetus to write such a kooky story?
Yeah, so it's actually based on a personal story. My husband and I went on a trip to Vegas, and after we had our son, and it was one of the first trips that we had taken without him. And we went to this club, and I got hit on by this very beautiful woman, which had never happened to me before. But I realized that I was kind of curious. And this woman asked if it was okay to kiss me. I was right there with my husband, and I was like, "Are you okay with this?" And he was like, "Yeah, go for it." And I was like, "Okay."
As they do.
So so we shared this like beautiful kiss, and then she was like, I would really love to grab your phone number and see you later. Is that okay?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I don't know." And so I asked him, like, "Is that okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, give her your phone number." So I gave her my phone number. We spent like the next 48 hours in Vegas just talking about like what's on the table, what's not, what would make us feel comfortable, what would be safe. And we were laughing and we were having so much fun, kind of like exploring what this could even look like. She never texted me, which is a bummer. But by the time we left Vegas, we were already outlining the script.
Now, does she know that this was about her and has she seen the movie?
You know what? She never texted me, but I hope she does.
So, what happens in Vegas doesn't necessarily stay in Vegas.
Not if you're a screenwriter.
I had a feeling it was a true story. It was too good to be true.
Thank you. Oh, it was very personal. Yeah.
And your husband's very cool.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We kind of also tapped into like our own real flaws as we were building these characters. So that was like its own therapy session because, it's not us, it's a version of us. And we exaggerated certain flaws to make a more interesting story. But granted, in that process, we have to have a conversation about all our flaws and a conversation about all our dynamics and the ones that work and don't work. And so that was tough, but it was also fun because we had to kind of like work through a lot of kinks in our own relationship.
I think, in a way, something like this would strengthen your marriage, yeah?
It
Or it
had.
couldn't, on the other hand.
Well, I know, I think it has, but I think it mostly has because we've just had to have so many hard conversations, and also really like acknowledge each other so much for what we bring to the table. And I think even in the process of making this movie, that is so much about the assumptions we make about each other in relationships, we've had to really take a step back, and realize how many assumptions we make about each other, and kind of give each other more space to grow and change and be curious about our growth.
And it's interesting because you really like have that safe space as well, especially as an actor, when you're doing these love scenes and your actor husband is in the room and your real husband is directing.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of dynamics. Yeah.
So talk about sort of how those scenes are shot.
Well, we have a lot of conversations beforehand. I think my husband is really wonderful at kind of creating space, and allowing the actors to really be present. So a lot of what happens is kind of beforehand, so that when the scene is actually happening, everyone can just be really present in their character. And so I think he does a really great job of just like allowing. And I think that is what gave us permission to show up so authentically and be able to be really safe with each other in these intimate scenes.
Please mention his name to everybody so we know.
Dan Levy Dagerman, the director of the movie, and my hubby, and my business partner, my baby daddy.
And speaking of baby daddy, you did a movie before this, Single Mother by Choice, which I went and saw immediately because I fell in love with you. I was like, wow, I gotta watch everything she's done.
Oh, thank you so much.
And what a talk about a personal film.
I know
Wow.
we really put ourselves on the line. Yeah,
Oh my
that
God.
that
And
was
during COVID.
crazy. So what was really interesting about that movie was actually that COVID was not at all in the script that we initially envisioned. We wrote a whole script that we thought we were going to shoot in real time throughout my real pregnancy. And then we started shooting, and I actually had a miscarriage, which was one of the hardest things I've ever gone through.
Oh,
Yeah, and I had to like really take a step back and be like, whoa, what am I doing? Why am I filming my pregnancy? Like, this is so much more vulnerable than I thought. And then we had a lot of conversations about that. I kind of had to go through my own loss. And then I got pregnant again. We decided to start filming again. And 3 months into it, it's this global pandemic. Everything shuts down. We lose our crew. It feels like the zombie apocalypse and like we're all going to die. And at that point, we just decided to start writing 10 pages a month, shooting and editing in real time, because there was no way to know how the movie was going to end, because we didn't know when COVID was going to end. Everything was out of our control. So it was incredibly crazy making, but also just like gave us so much sanity because it felt like the end of the world. So we had like something to focus on while I was actually pregnant with our child. And then the real miracle was that when we were done with the movie, we were still at the height of the pandemic. And so we made an executive decision to not go to festivals at all, because we felt like that would delay the release. And we actually sold the movie directly to HBO Max and made a profit, which was incredible.
oh, I love it. What a great story. And I'm glad I watched You, Me, and Her first because I recognized Anna Campbell.
Yes, we love Anna Campbell. Yes, she's one of
And
my.
she played the doctor in
Yeah.
Single Mother by Choice. And was that sort of a nod to your husband, her name?
Yes, it was. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, she's amazing.
And you poke fun at COVID in this new movie as well.
Yeah. Well, we thought kind of like it's something that I feel like was so obviously felt so intense and serious just not too long ago, and then now has kind of been thrown around so lightly. And so we just thought, yeah, let's put it in there as a reference, as a to the terrible thing that we had to go through not too long ago.
I know the scene is your friends come over and they want to interrupt the threesome. And you said, we have COVID. You can't come in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very fun. So tell me more about this film you're directing. Can you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, so the new film I'm working on directing, we're still in the process of fundraising, but we do have some bigger names attached. And it's a really fun movie, actually kind of like in the vein of Freaky Friday meets Mean Girls. But it's about a girl who is in high school who's kind of obsessed with her phone and thinks that everybody's life is better than hers. And she gets a magical phone, which allows her to switch into the lives of the people she's been kind of obsessing over. And so it kind of explores that dynamic and the effect I think social media can have on us.
So it's not really a personal thing to you as much as your first two films.
Well, it's personal in a different way. You know, I think that as much as it's told from the perspective of a high school girl, which I think is just always a fun perspective, it is true to me in the sense that, yeah, social media affects me every day. I mean, I graduated from AFI. And there's been so many moments in my career where, I have people from my class that have been nominated for an Oscar, or that have gone to Cannes, or that have won Sundance, and there's just so much pressure, just looking at your phone, knowing that like you're not where someone else is, or feeling like, oh my God, why aren't I not in Bali right now? Even if like I'm having a good time, somehow now that I saw someone else's in Bali, I feel like I should be there. And so there's like that dynamic is still very, true and honest to my own experience. And then I just kind of packed it into where I think it would make the most interesting story.
It's that old FOMO thing rearing its ugly head.
Yes, exactly.
Now, you have a very interesting background and ethnicity. So tell us how that plays into the kinds of stories that you're interested in telling.
Yeah, so I'm half Mexican, half American. I grew up in Mexico. My dad's Mexican and my mom's American. But obviously, I don't look, the way people think a Mexican woman should look. But I also don't think anyone really looks who they are, because we're like a melting pot. And I think that we're just so diverse at this point in terms of our culture and how we grow up and what it looks like and how it gets mixed. And so that was really important for us in the movie to kind of really highlight the diversity, and not through the story. Like, the story is not about diversity. The story is about these two people in their dynamic and their marriage, but diversity is a backdrop to the cultural way that people interact in the world and with each other through that. And that was really important to us.
Yeah, every time you speak Spanish, people are like, oh.
Yeah. Well, that's what actually happens to me in real life. People are like, what?
So what do you want audiences to come away with after they see You, Me, and Her?
I think the most important thing to me, and it's actually one of the reactions we've been getting as we've been doing these screenings and these premieres, which has been really exciting, is that I want people to walk away and have a conversation they haven't had. I think that, and it's not about a threesome necessarily. I think
Although
that,
some people might say to their husbands, let's go.
yes, that might happen, and that's okay too. But I think that, the movie is really about a couple that is taking each other for granted, and that is not being curious about each other's growth. They're making a lot of assumptions about each other, and they've kind of stopped connecting with each other on their needs. And so I think that we need to have more honest conversations with each other in a partnership in order to stay connected and to stay curious about how we're growing and changing. Because, the person you married 10 years ago isn't the person you're married to today. And if you don't check in, you're going to miss that boat. And so I think so much of what I want and what I'm hoping this story will do is spark a conversation for people in their own relationship dynamics.
And will your child appear in any of your future films moving forward?
Yeah, I would totally put them in there, but I mean, they would have to want to, but they're so cute. I have
Oh,
two.
you've got more than, oh, you got two now.
Yeah, we've got a 4-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter.
Oh, perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
It was so much fun meeting you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
We should go out.
Always news.
Always refreshing.
Always candid.
Always milling about.
Robin Milling delivers what celebrities are saying to you.